podcast series number 2. In this series, we are listening to and reviewing an entire band's discography, currently going through the Wonder Years. We are on their third album, the 2011 release, Suburbia, I've Given You All, and Now I Am Nothing. This continues a trilogy that they are doing that included the previous album and the next album, where vocalist Dan Soupy Campbell talks about his struggles of being scared and lonely and generally being lost. So the last album, an improvement over the first one by a mile, I would say. So I'm hoping that the trend continues and it just gets better from here. Not really a whole lot to kind of go over as far as like the background info. Again, just kind of reading this off of Wikipedia. The only thing that's maybe worth taking is that I'm literally looking at right now is that their producer would push the band to get a perfect take to the point where they felt sick. So much so that Dan threw up twice while recording vocals.
Nice.
I don't know what you got to do to throw up while singing, but I don't want to know. So that's neat. Anyway, I got nothing else to mention, so we can get right into this shit. Track number 1 came out swinging.
Moved all my shit to my parents' basement and down to my own apartment.
All right. This is like a top 10 song for me all time, dude. I absolutely love this track. To start with, the last album had that whole theme of like the universe is going to shit, but we're making it anyway. And I think this song really sets the tone for this album to be like, hey, now that the world's gone to shit, we're trying our hardest to feel okay. Now there's this sense of like recognition that like, yeah, but things are still shit, and I guess we got to do something about it. I think that, like, much to you said in the intro, Mike, where like they really aim for the perfect take. I think that production value on this is significantly better than the last two albums. Everything sounds crisp and clean and very intentional. And the lyrics just really resonate, especially the one, my heart keeps saying stay young, my lower back seems to disagree. Really, really hits different, dude, as you become a boomer. No, but I mean, I this whole like being technically homeless and going through a relationship, recognizing where you came from, recognizing the universe is shit, and then feeling okay. Like this is a really powerful way to start this album out.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ted. 0 to 10, fuck you. No, this is a good one. This is a good opener. Yeah, I can distinctly tell that they pushed Dan to stop sounding like a whiny little bitch and just said, you know what, we're actually gonna get a take of your voice that doesn't sound like shit. And apparently, to do that, man has to throw up at least twice. So, you know, sacrifices. Everyone has to make sacrifices. And the sacrifices that he made caused a really, really good opener. I mean, his vocals sound really good. Everything's crisp and clean, like Ted said. The production is well done, even better done than their last album, which was miles ahead of their first one. It just leaps and bounds each time.
Yeah, it just seems like the definitely sounding better and better, which is a good thing. I guess based on what I'm reading here that this was influenced by a poem called America by Allen Ginsberg. I've never heard of this poem. I don't know anything about it, so I can't speak to any of the contents of that or anything. But something probably worth mentioning for someone who might be more familiar with it than I am. But yeah, solid opener.
To the point of the Ginsberg poem, there are a lot of lines throughout this album that are taken from the same like collection of Ginsberg works. In the intro, there's like that repeating kind of like overtuned voice that says, "My mind is made up. There's going to be trouble." That comes from the same Ginsberg poem. There are several lyrics taken like almost directly word for word from that poetry too. You'll see it a few times through the album.
Okay. I guess we can move on then. Track number 2, Woke Up Older.
I love this track. It's a jam. It's a jam. I think similar to the last song, it has the vibes of everything was shit, but we're making it out on top, and this one kind of recognizes the places that like still need repairs to make things better. And the last one, we went over "Hey Thanks," which was that really shitty, out of place ukulele track, and this like as a thank you to his girlfriend for still being there, and this one is the recognition that like, hey, I kind of treated her like shit, just assumed she'd be there, and now everything's bad. Guess we're breaking up. There's still like a hopeful tone to it while still recognizing that, hey, everything is shit. It very much fits the theme of what we've had so far. It just sounds good, man. It really slaps. This one's good.
I like this one a lot. This one, I gave Mike Kennedy a lot of shit in the first. I mean, you can give any of the band members a lot of shit for the first album, but like him specifically, I gave a lot of shit to. But like this track, like he did a really, really good job of just almost sending me straight back to like a maybe early to mid 2000s kind of pop punk, like a Sum 41, Blink 182 kind of like those kind of days of pop punk, and it hits me right in the fucking feels, in a really fucking fun and cheerful way that I fucking love this one. Yeah, this is a fun one.
Yeah, I had to double check what year this came out because I'm like, wait a minute, this sounds like something from like 2003. This came out in 2011. What?
Yep.
I guess that's a feature. We'll just say that's a plus. If you want to get launched back into the past, listen to this song. Yeah, surprisingly, I am enjoying this so far, which is wild considering I've said multiple times that this usually isn't my genre, but yeah, this is pretty good so far. Track number 3, Local Man Ruins Everything.
I want to first start by saying that we're back to the Ginsberg poetry. I Don't Have Roses in the Closet is a reference to another Ginsberg poem where he's kind of preoccupied with the stuff around his house, and what it means to him and like a sentimental value. I think that first, this album, when I first listened to it, inspired me to go listen to the Ginsberg poem, or to read the Ginsberg poem rather. And I think that like there's a really strong draw between the two, and the idea that like I'm holding on to sadness, I can't let things go. Despite my attempts to be happier, I'm still finding preoccupation with the past, and I think it's a really powerful message in this song. I think this song is easily the weakest of the 3 that we've heard so far, but I think the message here is easily the strongest. The symbolism and the references that Soupy makes in the lyrics are really powerful. I think this is an important track for the vibe of the album, but I can't necessarily say that it pulls me in the same way the other 2 did.
So I'd say that each track I've just been enjoying more than the one before it. I also love that the very first line is like a reference to the line in their previous album when they say that the fountain was on, and they start talking about like the reference to, yeah, it's shitty, but the fountain's on. It's a nice callback to that. Overall, I'll give it to Mike Kennedy again that he does a really insanely good job of having a drum style that is reminiscent of the early 2000s pop punk while also having enough innovative style to make it sound fresh at the same time. I'm enjoying this a lot.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you go look at a fountain you really like and it's not on anymore and it ruins your whole fucking day, huh? Yeah, nothing really negative to say about this, other than I guess the title of the song is a Simpsons reference. So there's that. Yeah, so far, I have had nothing to say negative about this album. It's pretty solid so far, and I hope that trend continues. There's still several songs left, so it has several opportunities to disappoint me still, but I'm gonna hold out hope here. So this next one is only 50 seconds long, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say that we can also listen to the 5th track as well. So gonna be listening to tracks 4 and 5, Suburbia and My Life as a Pigeon.
Well, if you want me to go, then I'll go.
All right. To start out with Suburbia, the whole thing is fuck my hometown. Everything's literally burning down. It's the worst. I hate this place. But I think it's kind of cool for me because it's the first time they identify as a Lansdale band instead of a Philly band, and that's just me. I don't know if anybody else on Earth finds that exciting, but it's one thing I'm a fan of for sure. As far as My Life as a Pigeon goes, this one like really genuinely. I think it's the first time that I can feel the change between Soupy sounds like shit trying his hardest to sing positively versus I can let my voice sound like shit because it mixes with the genre and it still sounds right. It's a really notable shift for me. Not even that it's necessarily different from the rest of the album, but it feels like the perfect take that Mike mentioned earlier in the intro doesn't need to be the perfect singing voice, which I think is really cool. It's a whole lot of like of the same messages of the world's drowning, let everything go, try to feel all right, even though we recognize that everything's still shit and like this is still a fight. I'm not gonna repeat myself either and talk about the same things that I talk about the last album as far as like why the pigeon references are significant. You can go back and watch the last episode because that was last week's news, but I think that they really personify that effort here, which I think is a really cool message for how the album is going so far.
Yeah, this is just more of. I mean, so yeah, I'll start with Suburbia. This was just kind of a funny. I really liked the references. Obviously, I'm not the person that gets them or relates to them the most, but I at least I'm able to relate to them to some degree. These are just funny lyrics to me. And then we get to My Life as a Pigeon, and like Ted said, yeah, this is kind of the song that Steve Evans was talking about, that he forced Dan to, try and, well, not necessarily try, but, get a good fucking take, and the perfect take at that. So this was, in my opinion, probably the best we've heard from him in a way that fits the genre. I've been giving Mike Kennedy the props, but this one I really noticed the guitar work was doing a lot of heavy lifting in this one as well. So yeah, this was another really good one.
Okay. So yeah, Suburbia is just that's just what PA's like. It's just like that. So yeah. Okay. My Life as a Pigeon. I don't have much to say about this one either. Again, nothing negative to say. Really, really solid track. I think you guys are kind of doing a lot of the heavy lifting, explaining why these tracks are good, and I don't want to just parrot what you guys are saying. So, another solid track. Track number 6, Summers in PA.
All right. So first off, more Ginsberg poetry. Please go read America by Allen Ginsberg if you're into this album. For me, this track just has always mesmerized me. It's always hit every note that I wanted to hit. Something about the guitar, the progression, even the bass and the drums just kind of fit a vibe that feel really comfortable. They also fit the theme of the song and the idea that like the way that the album progresses, we went from, I recognize the universe is sad, this is why everything sucks, I don't feel like I'm at home, now let's try to feel better. Where Summers in PA is that turning point. And I feel like it's, fuck being sad, we're gonna go have fun, even if that means going to a casino, getting shit-faced, and then causing trouble at a Denny's parking lot, right? This track hits all the right notes. It feels super comfortable and familiar, even if you've never heard it before. Like, since the first time I've heard it, this has been one of my favorite tracks in this album. I love this fucking song.
This is another really, it's another really good song. This is incredibly tight. The production is still at its like all-time high. They're continuing. It's almost weird that it's like each track is still almost sounding better and better to me than the one before it. Yeah, this one was a lot of fun. There was a lot of references in here too that I'm just like, oh yeah, that's definitely something someone in PA is gonna fucking do. Yep, that makes sense. This was a really fun one, yeah.
So an interesting snippet that's here at the bottom. There is a track by track from Alt Press, where Dan was talking about recording this particular song. It's a song about my friends and I making bad choices and having good times. It kind of reminds me of why I love this town in the first place. We've become close with 4 Years Strong over the past year, and when we needed a guest vocal spot, it only made sense to ask them. Dan and Alan's parts were recorded on the bus we shared in England on a USB microphone through a pair of pantyhose that got thrown on stage while two obnoxious drunk girls pounded on the door demanding to know where Good Charlotte was.
Wait,
It's the most 4 year strong thing I can fucking imagine is somebody asking where Good Charlotte was.
the fact that sounded like actually better than like some of the stuff on their first album, and I'm like, that's what did they record that album on then? Fucking Jesus.
iPhone headphones, dude. I'm convinced.
Yeah, and a children's keyboard. not a child, a toddler's keyboard.
Where are we at? Track number 7. I Won't Say the Lord's Prayer.
So in the last album, we talked about Dynamite Shovel as a quick, like, a minute and a half, fuck you, God, right in the middle of things, right? But I think this one hits a different note in the idea that it's procedural, it's thought out, there's fuck God for these reasons, which I think is really impactful. Like, I think Soupy's lyrics do a really great job at expressing his anti-religious sentiments. But I also think it still fits the same mentality of the album that, like, religion isn't going to be my step towards bettering myself from depression. Like, religion isn't going to save me. I need to do better on my own. This track really, like, punches all of the places that are important to Soupy, I think. Like, you can really feel the passion behind this one. It's a track that I like a lot, even if it's not something that I come and revisit for listening purposes often.
Yeah, this one, I guess, a lot of the songs on this album, I guess I relate to, this one included. I guess this just makes a lot of sense of their themes that they have that I relate to a lot of them. Yeah, I don't have much else to add to it. I mean, this is it's a fuck you without being like a loud fuck you. Like it's a very mellow, like calm delivery of just this is why you're fucked and the other reasons why you can get fucked. And it's in a nice calm package instead of being the normal like in your face loud as shit, go fuck yourself. So yeah, I like it.
There's the line in there about the billboards, which being back in the South, I see those quite a bit, and I always think they're hilarious. If you look at the Genius annotation, it just has the picture of the one that says "Hell is real." It's like you see that shit all the time, and I just think it's goofy. And the funny thing is like these people are serious; they're like trying to scare you or something, and it just comes off as really fucking goofy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this I guess fits in with the themes of like I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, where like in your hometown you always have these people that are trying to like push religion as like an answer to your problems or something, and it's like, no, that's fine to do that, but I don't like the way that organized religions do things or how they're so pushy or whatever. I'll just figure this out myself, kind of thing. All right. I think we're getting close to halfway. Track number 8, Coffee Eyes.
$2.27, January 17th.
There's a ton to unpack here. I want to start, I guess, Connell, you mentioned earlier the callbacks. In the last album, they talked about never seeing Dave alive again, and then they talk about him being half dead in the parking lot and finding him. There's the references to like feeling at home in your hometown and like the people at the diner knowing you forever. The Ginsberg poem again, because we mentioned January 17th. This track just really resonates with me. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I tweet every single year on Coffee Eyes Day the opening line to the song because it fucking slaps. It doesn't it's not super energetic and upbeat like previous tracks that like I just really enjoy listening to. This one just really hits all the right notes. I absolutely love this song. It'll always stick around as a favorite for me. But I think production is really good. The lyrics are really good. The theme to the album is really good. Everything just really flows here, and I love this one.
Yeah, I don't have much to add there. I mean, I'm just gonna end up repeating myself. This song's another really, really tight, almost like perfect example of pop punk from the era that gets almost every note correct that it should. This almost becomes like a model for, or like a formula for other pop punk that comes later. Like, this is just such a almost universal sound that it's just so good that they were able to emulate the old stuff, new stuff. It's really good still. Yeah, there's not much else I can add to that though.
I think it's kind of interesting that it seems to just be a universal experience to just hang out at diners super late at night. Because I know back in high school, me and my friends used to hang out at like Waffle House at like 2 a.m. all the time. And like even the people that I know in Utah, like sometimes we'll hang out at this like local diner after being at round one, and it's like 1 a.m. or something. So it's cool that that's like just a universal thing that like everyone's done probably. But yeah, we are I get more than halfway through the album, and I don't think there's been a song that I've like hated yet or disliked in any way. So I guess that's a plus. Really, really solid album so far. Crazy how 2 albums ago it was just really goofy and just not in like a good way either. It was just really stupid and goofy. And now we're here, and it's like, wow, the band has improved significantly in such a short span. It's kind of impressive. All right, track number 10. Don't Let Me Cave In.
I think we skipped I've Given You All.
Oh, so we did. My mistake. Track number 9. I've Given You All.
It's a sober side. The old alcoholics.
I think the title kind of says all that this song needs to say. Just the idea that like I've given everything I had. My hometown isn't going to get any better, and everything still is kind of shit. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point. Pretty simple one, but it's all right.
Yeah, that's how my thing's gonna be. Short and sweet. This is a short and sweet song. I mean, that's all I can add, really.
So it seems that this is part of a mini trilogy of interconnected songs that began with Suburbia, where they're just kind of talking about things in their hometown and various personal issues. So I guess it's just kind of just a peek into that kind of stuff, which is interesting. All right, for realsies this time, track number 10. Don't Let Me Cave In.
You throw me all the way up here, 'cause you can tell it all is love.
This song is another one, same to the theme that like you can't find where home is. And I mean, obviously that's been a trend for an album and a half now, but I guess this one really personifies it in a ways that previous songs haven't. This was the first Wonder Years song that I ever found. Like, this was what broke me into the band, and some of the lyrics, some of the music still gets me in the right places that like I sympathize. I understand. I've been there. Like, can't tell you how many times I've spent late nights in a car with somebody that like going through emotional breakdowns together. Like, it just this song hits all the right notes. It's really comfortable and will always be a favorite of mine.
Yeah, this one's there's much more of this. Is a really good, like, it has this almost like emo-ish kind of sound to it without necessarily having that like I guess overall emo feel. I guess, I mean, yes, this is kind of a more sad song, but I can just kind of feel I've had this kind of thought of them having this a kind of tendency for some slight Midwest emo-ish like aspect to some of it, and And then obviously the continuation of just pure pop punk that is just so enjoyable.
Um, I have nothing really to say about this. Nothing else to add on, unfortunately. Solid again, just continuing the trend of very very solid song. Nothing really overly negative to say about it. Nothing really overly positive to say about it. It's all right. It's all right. Track number 11. You made me want to be a saint.
I really like this one as a tribute track. I think it's very clear through the lyrics and through the annotations and stuff that like this was an important track for them to write for a friend who passed. But I think that it still manages to fit what this album has going for it. There's a whole lot of references to a whole lot of social things. There's definitely like real passion behind what he's writing and purpose, and even the line that like it was how I know you would want this to be a fast one and not some cliche ballad, right? Like even that, like it's very clear how important it is to write this. I like this one a lot for what it is.
Yeah, this is definitely more unique for like a tribute song because usually those ones are more ballady or like more like I don't know what you could say like soul feel. They have a lot different feel to them, but this one felt like a very fast pace. It was very very fast paced, and it was all the better for it, honestly. And it is emotional with also being fun. It's another really good song.
I guess I just didn't expect like a tribute song for someone that the band knows to be like really fast paced. But I guess like I don't know. I don't know what I expected a song like this to be, but I like it for what it is. Linked in the Genius annotation somewhere is a blog post on about the person that this song is about. If you want to check that out, it is dated August 6th, 2010, and there's some I guess more personal background information about Michael Pallone, who this song is about. So check that out if you would like. Second to last track here, number 12, Hoodie Weather.
This is another one that the guitar just kind of hits that really like intrinsic. I honestly I started words and then they just weren't there. Like it hits the right notes that like just kind of keeps you going. It's something that just really draws you in and feels comfortable. I think there's really good themes to the rest of the album. More Ginsberg, more like Pennsylvania winter, more this town kind of sucks. I think it would have been a good wrap to the album if not for the next track that does actually end the album. I think it's a slower, comfortable, confident place to end this to end this theme, I guess.
This is another one of those PA the song. There's just so much of this that I'm like, yep, that's definitely something that I've experienced at least a couple times living in Pennsylvania. But yeah, it's. I do agree that I think that this one's very heavily carried by the guitar, which is just so tight on this one as well. I'm interested to see the closer. I'm interested because this one's really good.
So I guess that there is an entire article that has been mentioned in the Genius annotations for a previous track. The article is by Alternative Press, and they did a kind of track by track, just getting thoughts about each of the individual tracks on the album. And for this one, it has written here, the entire world seems to want to leave. Everywhere I've ever been. When you ask what's cool there, the response is, nothing. This place sucks. I can't wait to get out. But if everywhere sucks, where are you going and why? I feel like a lot of people around here are without goals. They don't know where they want to go or what they want to do. They just know they don't want to be here and they don't want to do this. It's a pointless cycle. I've grown up in this town my whole life. I watched a whole lot of people die here. I mean, technically they're still alive, but they're practically dead. They don't have anything that they want to be anymore. A lot of people hate a lot of places, but it's not enough to just run away from them. You need to figure out what you love and what you don't, and place yourself in this world according to that, or you're going to end up miserable no matter what city you're in. As for my thoughts on the track, yeah, it's fine. I genuinely wish that I had more things to say about some of these songs, but I am fucking stupid and cannot on the spot come up with something profound to say about half of these songs other than just saying, yeah, I enjoyed it. Which I guess is fine. I mean, as long as I like the song, cool. But I wish I had something better to say about it. Yeah, I've enjoyed the album a lot up to this point. To my surprise, there hasn't been anything about it that I've just outright been like, no, this fucking sucks. Fuck you. No, this has actually been a pretty solid album so far. So yeah, we're on to the final track, number 13, and Now I'm Nothing.
This song creates this trend for Wonder Years albums that the last lines, like the last stanza in each song, is a super profound, like really great wrap up to the album, and I think this sets a really great tone for the end of this album as well as like setting that pace for future albums. It really strikes home all of the things that we've found here, all of the trends from Ginsberg poems, all of the world is still going to be a depressing place, but I have to push forward and I have to do things for myself, and all of the notes that you expect this to hit, like it's right there. This is like the perfect end. If Hoodie Weather wasn't, this hits everything exactly the right way.
Yeah, I think this might be, I can't remember. I think this might be the longest song I've heard by them so far, at literally like 5 minutes. Jesus Christ, 5 minutes on the dot. Yeah, this album. This kind of concludes that. I mean, I do think the Hurting Weather kind of does have that concluding theme, but I also really like how this one has that conclusion to the album, or conclusion to that mini trilogy that also to me has that like almost like similar, if not parallel kind of theme. Yeah, this, even though I did like the last one and thought the last one could be a closer, this one's good. This one's also has not necessarily experimental stuff, but I guess a more experimental for them. They were doing some more slightly different like methods with their guitar and their drums that seemed kind of interesting. So yeah, this was a really, really good end to an album.
Yeah, it's kind of weird the way that they ended this. Like, you had the previous track, which could have worked fine as like an ending, and then just to follow that up with another track that is the actual ending, and it sounds appropriate as the ending. It's, I don't know, just kind of a little weird. I'm not sure if you've noticed that this being the final track to conclude that little mini trilogy, the titles of those tracks have been the title of the album. I guess fitting that those are the kind of more personal tracks on the album to basically be the title tracks. But yeah, this was solid. I kind of like the way that this wrapped up and finished. Very solid. I guess now we can kind of go into rankings. For me, this is very, very solidly just reverse order for me. I think that works.
I'm right there with you. I said it at the top end that this was a top 10 album for me all time, and I think it's so. This album's been top 10 for me like as an all time album forever, but I also think that like even if you take the bonus tracks out of it that I value a ton, the ones that we didn't listen to for this album, like I think those only make this album better. The three that are listed when this album came out are My Life is Rob Gordon, Me vs. the Highway, and Living Room Song, which all have their, I give them their kudos. Last year, or the year before, they also put out a track that went unreleased during this era that they released for their 10-year anniversary for both Suburbia and the Upsides that would have come out during this era that I also find really good. Like, even if you add those to this, I think it only makes this album even better. I really, really love this album. I love the flow. I love the way that the band kind of found its identity, that this was a cohesive thought project on this album, that every track made sense and in the order that it came in. Like, I think this one is kind of like a masterpiece of this era of pop punk, but man, this album is just everything you'd want it to be.
Yeah, I would agree that it's definitely the reverse order. The oldest, the second in this one. It's just that order. I feel like that's kind of been pretty similar. I feel like for a lot of bands we've done so far, the other bands we've done, where it's the first album is usually our lowest, and then it kind of climbs until it's like their like fourth or fifth album, and then we start getting into the ones where we're like, okay, well, we like this other one a little bit more. I feel like always in the first three we're always pretty consistent with, like, they always get consistently better over time. And yeah, it's no different with the Wonder Years. So yeah, I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah, I have nothing else to kind of go over here, so I guess we can wrap up. That'll do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I got to see the Trans-Siberian Orchestra last night. They were
interesting.
They are hands down. Before them, I would have said that Rob Zombie probably put on like the best show that I had seen. But nah, Trans-Siberian Orchestra blew that shit out of the fucking water. And every single song that they played, there was like usually something going on with like the stage or like something around them. And every time something happened, I was like, okay, well, they don't have anything else to do like for the next song, right? There's something else. There's a fucking snow globe that's gonna rise out of the stage with a singer inside of it, and then the rafters are gonna lower down, and the guitarist and the violinist are gonna go on that, and it was fucking insane. It was the like hypest show I'd been to.
My mom keeps telling me I need to go see them, and
yeah,
maybe at some point. They're actually. So I did a 5-hour drive to Birmingham yesterday to go to an arcade, and funny enough, they're going to be in Birmingham in like 2 days, but I can't exactly make the 5-hour drive to go do that on a Tuesday, unfortunately.
True.
Silly goose behavior.
Okay, well, if that you got nothing else, that'll do it for realsies. Yeah. So I guess we'll catch you next time. See ya.
Peace.